Hey, how, and howdy. The sun is out, the birds are chirping, the pollinators are pollinating, and it's a great time to read some books. That's what I think. It's spring's going into summertime, and I just really wanted to like yap about some books that I wanted to read. I've had like this thought in my head. I was like, oh my god, like this collection of girl books, like is so like I just need to do it. And so I'm gonna tell you what they are pretty much. We'll see how much I actually really tell you, and maybe we'll actually document as I read a little bit. Share some thoughts and insights if I have any. Probably not, but we'll find out. First and foremost, starting off, this book I'm currently reading, not related to books that are in my head. I'd be like, girling books, girl books need to read. Yeah. Small things like these. It's tiny. It's like a brief little doesn't feel like spring, but I'm reading it because I wanted to read it before going into some like springy books. It's alright so far. Don't have too many thoughts on it, to be honest. Alright, so I have 5 books, as you can see. The first one, Slow Days, Fast Company by Eve Babbitt. So I feel like everyone knows this one. Everyone knows at least Eve Babbitt. She's like the LA girly who like to always compare to Joan Didion. I've only read one book by Eve prior, and it was, what's it called? It was Sex and Rage, and honestly, I didn't really care for it. So, like, will I like any more of her writing? We'll find out. I feel like since everyone, like, is like, oh, yeah, Eve Babbitt's just pretty much, like, loosely wrote about her life, but called it, like, fiction, or whatever, like, that, reading that Sex and Rage, like, did not come off well for me. I was like, this is, like, horrendous vibes of a person, you know? I was like, I don't know if I'm into you, Evie baby. But I feel like since she's younger in this one, I feel like it's more, I don't know, like, if she comes off, like, as a horrible person, it's okay because she's, like, slightly younger. While I was reading the other one, I was like, this is really off-putting, like, how, that you're, like, acting like this at, like, however age. I guess she was, like, in her 30s or something in that book. Should I read the blurb? Should I blurb it for everybody? No one burned hotter than Eve Babbitt's, possessing skin that radiated its own kind of moral laws. Spectacular teeth and a figure that was the stuff of wow, I'm not gonna read it loud. And a figure that was the stuff of legend. She seduced seemingly everyone who was anyone in LA for a long stretch of the 1960s and 70s. One man proved elusive, however, and so Babbitt did what she did best and wrote a book. Slow Days, Fast Company is a full-fledged and full-bodied evocation of a bygone Southern California that far exceeds its mash note premise. In the end, it doesn't matter even if Babbitt gets the guy. She seduces us. It's like one of those classic like hot girl reading books, you know, like Eve Babbitt's being a hot girl, like in the 60s, 70s, like that sounds like a great time. I want to see what it's about, you know, like I want to be there. Put me in, coach. Next we have Brutes, also fiction, by Diz Tate, sorry. Brutes by Diz Tate, fiction book. I bought this a while ago, and I was like, oh my god, this cover, gorgeous, love it. From my rememberings, which is small, this is about, like, it's kind of like coming of age girls, teenagers, maybe tweens, in Florida, hot, sweaty, and I believe someone goes missing, another girly goes missing. Should I just read the blurb again? In Falls Landing, Florida, a place built of theme parks, swampy lakes, and scorched, another word I don't know, bougainvillea flowers, Something sinister lurks in the deep. A gang of 13-year-old girls obsessively orbits around the local preacher's daughter, Sammy. She is mesmerizing, older, and in love with Eddie. But suddenly, Sammy goes missing. Where is she? Watching from the distance, they edge even closer to discovering a dark secret about their fame-hungry town and a cruel cost of a ticket out. What they uncover will continue to haunt them for the rest of their lives. So yeah, this one seems like a little fun, coming of age, girlhood, darkness, like some sort of, obviously there's a mystery, someone goes missing. I think it'll be fun. It's very young. Next I have Girls Against God. You and I were all whores for a good cover. I'm sorry, like, this is a great cover. Also great name, Girls Against God. I'm Enticed by Jenny, I don't know how to say the last name, Vol? Maybe it's, yeah, Jenny Vol. This one also, I feel like, all of them are girlhood, but like, I believe this is another teenage, yes. Small town Norway, white picket fences, strict white Christian values. Here, a teenage woman gives into the lure of rebellion offered by the upstart black metal scene. She's a creature of obscure creativity and of hatred she holds dear. She moved to Oslo, a site of weird converges, a coven of witches cook up curses, demons descend onto a cafeteria, a time-traveling Edvarl Munch joins a metal band, purely pursued by his pubescent model, who has murder on her mind. Meanwhile, out in the deep forest, a group of schoolgirls lose their way, only to find terrible strangeness. Awful things happen in Aspect. Radical fusion of feminist thought and experimental horror, and a unique treatise on magic, writing, and art. Also look it up. Stunning, isn't it? I don't know, it's cute. Seen this one, girlhood, but like give it like some horror elements, like make it a little spooky. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen in this one, but like I'm here for a ride. Like, I'm absolutely here for a ride. Like, truthfully, and no shade, but like this seems like a classic, like, could be a horrible Hulu show. I'm not naming names, but like, obviously I don't hope that from it, but it could be based off like what I'm getting out of the premise. This, I'm along for a ride. I don't know what I'm getting into. Maybe it'll also be a horrible Hulu show. But I don't know. I think it should be fun. I think I'm going to have a fun time. A little spookiness. I have another book by this author that I also haven't read, Paradise Rot. My boyfriend read it, though, and he, I don't think enjoyed it. He just was like, they just keep talking about piss. So with that like in mind about this author, I think it could be a great time. Next I have Dogs of Summer. Once again, it feels like a very hot, sweaty summer book. Summer is in the name. Maybe that's where I'm getting that from. Actually, I think they talk about a volcano in the blurb. Yep. It's 2005 and high near the volcano of Northern Tenerife. I don't know how to pronounce things. This is going to be a recurring issue. Endless ceiling of cloud cover traps the working class in an abject, oppressive heat far away from the island's posh resort. Two girls dream of hitching a ride down to the beach and escaping from their horizonless town. Once again, girlies being girls. I feel like I've heard that there's, some sapphic undertones perhaps in this book. I'm not actually certain. I don't retain any information. This says something about a painful sexual awakening. Should be fun, coming of age, sexual awakening, hot, sticky summer vibes. So once again, great cover. Also just like the name Dogs of Summer. So sue me, a girl judges a book by a cover. It's pretty, I'm gonna. Next I have Okay Psych by Anya Joanna De Niro, which I do believe is actually a local book, novel, girly, maybe. Ooh, there's a quote from the Spectre in here. That's fun. I did like read a little bit of this when I bought it in the bookstore. It was a while ago, so I don't remember it now. I do remember it like kind of an interesting writing style per se. Yeah, maybe it was interesting because I was like clocking. I was like, oh, it's written in second person, which is a peculiar way of writing, as most of us would know. But I don't know, it has a trans perspective. That's all I remember. In this playful, aching short novel, an unnamed trans woman is on an epic journey to find the place where she belongs. As she navigates her many realities, she must wrestle with anxieties and fear about the world. Her son and ex live in another state. Environmental disasters are being outsourced to the Midwest. She can't decide whether or not to unbox the companion automation under her bed, and some of her friends may not just be ghosting her. They might not even be real. Okay Psych is a fever-pitched odyssey through joys, fears, and weirdness of trans adulthood, parenthood, and selfhood in a contemporary world. I thought it sounded fun. It sounded interesting. It sounds like a perspective that I definitely haven't really read. Truthfully, I haven't ever been a big reader in my life. This is a new development and trait of mine. So the amount of perspectives I've read is small. The amount of perspectives I've read is small, and a lot of pertain to what you have to read in school, which is a lot of men. And I'm here for the girlies. I don't like reading male perspectives. I read Tender is the Flush a while ago, and I was talking about it with my friend Isabel, and I was like, no, because like I really was expecting to like the book. It sounded like, it's just one of those books people are talking about online, and I was like, yeah, I could get into this. And then I read it and I was like, maybe the reason I didn't like it too much was genuinely it was like a male protagonist. I was like, that was like our main character, and I was like, I just couldn't get behind it. Like, it's just so not for me. Which, like, I'm not gonna lie, this is also a male protagonist, and I'm like, waiting for anything. Yeah. I'm just not here. I'm here for the girlies. That was all that I had to talk about, actually. I do have 2 books that are like honorable mentions on the list if I wanted to. One being, depending on how I feel about the Eve Babbitt's one, another Black Swans by Eve Babbitt's. I know even less about it, I'm gonna be honest. Once again, pretty cover, liked it. People talked about it, I said sure. Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf, another book. I know that I think I remember someone talking about it and being like, yeah, I'll read it. And so then I bought it the next time I saw it. Another would be A Woman Destroyed, I think is what it's called. Looks like this. I don't want to pick it up. It's over there. Literally, you can see it. But those are honorable mentions if I feel like the girlhoodness can keep going, but I feel like there's like slightly less girl. There's slightly less girly girl. I actually like don't know the premise even of Miss Dalloway. But if I wanted to extend it, I suppose those are what I would consider extending it to. Anywho, we'll see how my reading endeavors go. I'll keep you posted, perhaps. Thanks for joining me. Ta-ta for now. This is my nephew.